All right, belt's off out of the way. We're gonna go to 13 millimeter. All three bolts are the same, so it doesn't matter. They can go back in any order you want to. I just leave them sitting in there and just take it off and set this on the bench. All right, now that we've got the alternator off, we can see what we're working with here. We're working with this piece right here. This has got to be removed to get the new head fittings in the front. All right, we're going to take off this first fuel line here. Let's go into the passenger side head. It's going to be a 9/16. All right, once you get that line off, you're left with this 1/4 inch nipple here. I just use a pair of adjustable wrench here. Try not to damage the threads on it, just in case you have to go back to it. Just kind of slip it over the edge. Go up with it like so. Just keep note on kind of how tight this stuff is, because really, this stuff is not that tight at all. So when you're putting it back in, it is an MPT fitting, which means the thread size does change a little bit as the threads get deeper into the head. So that's what causes people to crack heads, is they torque the crap out of them and snap the head. So now once you get that fitting broke loose and spun around about 100 and maybe a couple hundred degrees or so, you're going to run into the exhaust back pressure line here. We're just going to pop this line off here and kind of pull it out to the side. Now you can kind of, while you're twisting it, you can kind of pop it off there. Once you get it kind of loose, you can take it with a wrench and kind of push it around. All right, we've got that fitting out. Now we're going to put the new fitting in. Remember which one it is for the passenger head. It's the one that's got a 45 on it, on that 45 on the back side right there. You may have to get a little aggressive with the back pressure sensor pipe here and kind of get this thing scooted out of the way a little bit. Make sure that you get a good clean start. Don't get it cross-threaded in any kind of way. If it doesn't feel like it's going in right, stop, start over again. Once it cross-threads, not good, you're in a cast head. And you have a much, much higher potential of cracking the head. All right, I got it started. Another thing is, don't follow the angle of your head and thinking that's the angle that this is going to start, because it actually starts at a couple degrees lower than the angle of the head. So like you would normally start a bolt in right here, you just kind of just figure what angle the head is and okay, that's the thread. These actually are at a different angle than what the actual head is, so they're not milled in dead straight. They're actually milled in at a slight angle. So be careful about that when you're putting them in. Know that it's not the exact angle. All right, I've got the first fitting on. I just snugged that up, not very tight. Probably did finger turning it, and then I probably did 3 rotations, and that's it. If it leaks, I can tighten it up a little bit more, but I don't want to mess with it too much and have a chance of cracking the head. I did have to kind of beat this over a little bit. It's a steel line, so it doesn't want to move for nothing. If it was copper, it'd be a lot easier, but it's a steel line. And it kind of just depends on your setup too, on how you want to have the lines coming up. But you can pull that up a little bit further. It'll just bring your fitting up a little bit higher, like so. It's kind of just up to you. I'm gonna fine tune it once I get everything in. But just for now, I'm gonna leave it like that, and then we'll kick over to the next side. All right, now we got the driver's side. It's kind of hard to get it to focus in on what we're trying to get to. But this is our line right here going into the head that we need to take off. Probably the easiest way to do this is going to be to remove this accessory bracket, or at least back it off a little bit. If you're not wanting to save these lines for any kind of reason, you can take and just cut it off right across here, and then you can put a deep well 9/16 over to take off the line, and then go for the fitting next. Okay, got a little bit of a turnout of it. I don't know if I'll be able to get them with it. There it goes. All right, pull that out of the way. All right, we got it out. Just to give you some reference, you can see there ain't but about 5 threads in there, so it's about half the threads in there. So don't bury the new pieces up all the way up to your nut. You can tell that they only did about halfway, and that's because you don't want to crack the head with these MPT fittings. So that just kind of gives you a reference, about 5-6 turns, and you'll be good. All right, so after a little bit of thought, it is really not worth cracking the head or cross-threading this thing. It's going to cost a lot more time and money to pull the head off if I crack it, rather than just pull this accessory bracket back out of the way, to make sure we get a good, clean fit into them threads. So we're going to go ahead and pop this accessory bracket off. First, we're going to take off this little vacuum pump here. All right, we got 3 10mm bolts on this. We got one that you can see up here at the top, one down here in the lower right hand corner, and there's one back in the back down here, kind of in the middle. It's in a triangle pattern. So we'll go ahead and take this off just to get it out of the way, save ourselves a little bit of headache. Now when these bolts come out, they're going to try to hit the pulley here. So you have to kind of take them all out at a certain depth out, and then scoop the whole thing back by hand, and then you can do each one of them again until you get it off. Same way going on, start all of them and just work them all in at the same time until you get them all snugged up. Okay, I've got all of the bolts out touching the pulley. So I'll slide the pulley forward a little bit, and then start again loosening each one of them until they all come out. All right, pretty much all you have to do right there. Just set that out of our way for now. All right, now we're going to go into the pulley that we can get to the accessory bracket itself.